Welcome to Anderson Penn's Sunday Brunch Menu 25 for Sunday, May 26, 2024. Brian, how are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
Happy Memorial Day.
Yes.
I am
yes.
also fantastic. It's been a while since we sat here at Sunday Brunch. I think it was...
Maybe a month.
Before, yes, maybe a month. It was before the Chicago Pen Show.
Yes, yes.
And I saw you there.
I was roaming around.
You were roaming around. You were an attendee there.
I was selling pens.
The first day you were selling pens.
Yes.
You had a little piece of a table, and I looked at some pens that you had on the table, had some conversations with other people that were also looking at your pens. But then the rest of the show, I'd see you once in a while, and you'd show me what you found. You were a kid in a candy store.
Well, yeah,
you were having fun.
Usually how it is. Well, I found an Esterbrook I didn't have, and I should have brought it for this, but I completely forgot about it.
Push pause on record.
I found an Esterbrook I didn't have, and it was a clipless Esterbrook pastel. They're very hard to find, and there it was, perfect, sitting on the table with a matching pencil, which I don't need
because you don't collect pencils.
Because I don't collect pencils, and so that was my big find for the show.
But it was fun to run into you during the show because you were always excited about something you had seen or found or purchased, and you were a typical pen show attendee.
Yes,
and that you don't usually get to do that.
Yeah, no, this was a different show for me. So it was quite fun.
You had fun.
It was a good group, and
even you participated in some evening activities.
Did I?
You were, I guess what happens at a pen show stays at a pen show. No, you were eating pizza.
I was eating pizza. Yes, yeah.
And then there are certain groups of people that hang out together.
Yeah.
You were with the vintage people.
Yep.
And having a good vintage time.
Yep.
It was fun to see you having a good time, like the kid that you are. So you're probably going to go back next year.
I'd probably go back next year. Yeah. I might even sell again next year.
Did that work out for you?
I sold about 80 pens.
Oh, I would say that worked out.
That worked out, so without having to have a table.
That wasn't even really why you went.
Yeah. Well, it was one of the primary reasons.
Oh, is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Yes, that was one of the... Is that for Lisa? Lisa, that was one of the primary reasons. Tomorrow, of course, is May 27th, Memorial Day. Doing something special?
I am headed to my mother's.
Oh, that was Mother's Day.
Yes, well, because I was in Florida for Mother's Day.
Oh, okay.
And I did call her. This is makeup. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Florida, how was Florida?
Florida was fantastic. It was super hot.
I was going to say, was it hot?
Way hot, 95 degrees.
How was the humidity? Is what I.
It wasn't too bad.
Okay,
but you try not to stay outside if you can help it.
And you spent the whole day outside one day.
Yes, it was very, very, very hot. My blood has thickened a little bit, I guess.
This Wednesday, May 29th, do you know what day it is? Besides Wednesday?
Besides Wednesday, May 29th is...
one of my favorite days. It's National Paperclip Day.
Oh, paperclip.
I like paperclips.
Okay.
I like tape.
Do you like Clippy from Word?
No.
No, you don't like that?
Well, I mean,
paperclip?
nostalgic. He's nostalgic now. I like paperclip because it puts things together and you can easily remove it and it doesn't do any damage. It's not like staples or tape. So I'm a big fan of, just so everyone knows, I'm a big fan of paperclips.
Big fan of paperclips. All right.
Do you ever watch the shows?
I do have a watch, yeah.
Oh, you do?
This is, I don't know if I've shown this one before, probably.
I don't
it's a Seiko, Seiko Marble.
It has, wallpaper on it.
It's a linen dial.
Linen? Okay.
Yeah, so it's got alternating strips on it.
It's not one piece.
Well, yeah, it is probably one piece. I don't know if it's the material is sewn. I don't know how they achieve that effect, but...
you can tell time on that even though there's no numbers?
Well, yeah, it's a late, about a 60s watch.
And it's a Seiko.
And it's a Seiko, and it's a nice size.
Have all your watches been Seikos?
I have a number of them.
You have a number of them.
They're just interesting.
I have a watch too.
Oh.
It's
Is that a new one?
The newest. I got that. That's what I got at the Chicago Pen Show. I went to have one picked up.
That is something, huh?
Because my other one, the battery wasn't lasting all day anymore.
Oh, okay.
So I said, well, I'll just get the new one. When I first got an Apple Watch, I was never planning to get an Apple Watch because I don't usually wear watches. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry about that.
I have Eric's Apple Watch.
But at the time, you and Lisa were really into that Fitbit thing and counting your steps. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to have to get a Fitbit just so I can fit in around here and brag about or be embarrassed by my steps. And as I looked into Fitbits, I started to realize that an Apple Watch made more sense.
It's
If you're
pretty
going to wear
convenient.
something
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
it somehow interacts with your phone. And I said, well, that's just a gimmick. It's just a toy. Cannot live without it now.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
love it. Just love it.
Yeah, it's nice.
So-
Unlocks your computer.
So it's your fault. You started with the Fitbit, which made me get an Apple Watch. And when I upgraded my Apple Watch, you got the Apple
Well,
Watch.
you started riding your bike, and then
Yeah, you were pointing fingers here. That we're going to call that the banter.
that's the banter. All right.
Please like this video and consider subscribing to our YouTube channel, which is growing by leaps and bounds.
Absolutely.
We are so popular, but that we're still missing you, though. Go
Yes.
ahead and subscribe, please do. And did you bring me a joke?
Well, you know,
Is that
did
a
you
yes?
know? Yes. Did you know that
I didn't know that.
I filed a patent
Oh, did you?
for a pencil
Okay.
with erasers on both ends?
Tell me all about it.
Patent office didn't see the point. Never got the patent.
Thought it was pointless. Yeah, I didn't know where you're going with that. What do kids play when their mom is on the phone? It's bad. It's bad. It's really, just ask me.
I have no idea.
Board games.
Oh.
Board games. Today's. Oh, you have a show and tell pen.
Do I?
You do. You told me you did.
It just happens to be in my pocket today.
I'm going to call that an ST Dupont.
Is it ST
It's
Dupont?
probably a line D large in gold dust.
That's amazing.
As if we didn't talk about it
We didn't
before the
discuss
show.
it before the show. Yeah, no, it's a lovely pen.
It has sparkles.
It has sparkles,
sparkles.
and I just like it. And
Is it inked up?
it is inked up. Yeah, yeah.
Is it one of those nibs that is really nice?
It is very nice.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. It's a very pretty pen. Very pretty pen. Oh, I like this pad. What is this pad? Tell me all about
That
this
is
pad.
a Anderson Pens notepad.
That's a nice nib.
Isn't it a nice
That is a
nib?
nice
It is a
nib.
nice nib.
Is this
yeah.
one of those new signature nibs?
No, it is not a new signature nib. No, but
Oh, that's
I
just
like
fun to write with.
I like the lacquer. I like the
Yep.
gold
pretty.
dust. And it's, from across the room, it looks like a black pen. But so for me, it's kind of like it's your own little personal
Light show.
Yeah, yeah.
Here, I'll notepad.
Because nobody else can see it.
This is one of the Anderson Pens notepads.
Yes, yeah. This is one of our
Recently brought
E5s.
back.
Yep.
I have a new acquisition pen
Oh,
that you sold me.
that's
Right
like
here in
it's like an overlay.
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. This is a Kaweco Liliput, and this is the stainless steel version.
Stainless, yes.
They come in aluminum too.
They
and
do. This
brass.
is the nicer one,
This
I
is
think.
yeah. I thought it was worth the nicest, so I took
It's not
the
much of a price bump either.
No, and I got this specifically because I have a pen loop on my backpack.
Ah,
That is-
it's really super thin.
It's super thin.
Yeah.
Nothing fits in it.
Cross century.
Didn't try that. The Shalano would probably fit in it.
Yeah.
And a jotter would probably fit. But this is the only thing I found that actually fits in it. So I had to get it.
Nice.
And once you put it, it posts, but you screws
screw
on
it
to
on,
post.
yeah.
So it becomes a really,
It is a usable
a
length.
very
Yeah.
usable length.
Yeah.
A good pen too. Of course, it doesn't write.
There we go.
So that's my new acquisition.
And what ink is that you got in there?
That's Sailor Ink Studio 751.
Oh, 751. Did you put it on the cartridge, the little sticker? I guess it doesn't.
No, because it's the only ink I use. I don't have trouble remembering. That's my trick.
All right.
Just use
Just
one.
you only use one?
Yeah, just one. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
That was, and I do use it.
It's a nice pen.
Comes in very handy. We're going to talk about overlay pens today.
Overlays. Yeah.
And I do want to mention that you have mentioned to me several times that you don't think you're an expert with overlay pens.
It's a wide field.
You say it because some people really are.
Some people are really into it.
And you're just
I just
fan
dabble.
and a collector. You
dabble.
dabble. But if we compare my knowledge to your knowledge, you are the expert.
In the room.
In the room.
In the room.
Okay. So
So.
the first thing I'd like to do is define what is an overlay pen. In your opinion.
In my opinion, overlay pen is typically on black hard rubber. It's a metal fitting cap, usually cap and barrel. It can be either filigree or it can be a solid sleeve essentially that goes over the hard rubber.
Okay.
To give it
Can it cover
ornamentation.
all of the
Yes.
hard? It can't.
Typically, well, we'll get into it, but sometimes the end is not covered.
Right.
And sometimes they'll shave down the barrel so that the overlay fits flush.
And you said filigree.
Filigree. So pierced
Okay, so
Pierce
design,
work, design, yeah.
carved, hand
Yes,
carved,
yeah.
whatever.
So you can see the rubber beneath it.
Beneath it. See, that was what I thought. That's how I would have, previous to this conversation, defined an overlay. But
Yeah.
I see what you're saying is that it's any metal that you put on top of the hard rubber.
Yeah, as long as it's, I guess by definition, metal pens that
Right. This is not an overlay.
that is not an overlay because it's not. There's nothing over anything.
Right. It is just a metal pen.
Yeah. So
Okay. So now that we've defined it, these are mostly from your collection, aren't they?
yes, yeah, these are.
Oh no, you're not into pens.
I'm not into pens.
I don't like them much.
And so, and I can't tell you what the name of some of the patterns are, but I've been collecting these for about, I don't know, probably 10 or 15 years. And I pick them up when I can. And, sometimes they're not perfect. This one's got a huge ding in the barrel, but this is a Sterling Parker Lucky Curve overlay with overlay on the blind cap.
Look at that.
And this one is got the Heath stamp on the next to the Sterling mark.
And is an overlay always, I was going to say, always gold or silver?
It's gold or silver, yeah.
And that seems
This
to be...
is an outlier.
Okay.
We'll talk about that in a minute. But here's another really neat Parker.
And yeah, I'm learning here because I would not have called that an overlay.
Yeah. This is
We
actually
have to go way down to here before I
Yeah,
see the first thing I would have called an overlay.
yeah, because you can see inside the cap is.
Yes.
But that's a cool pattern. I don't know what they call that pattern, but
That's the cool pattern.
that's the cool pattern. Officially the
It's
cool pattern. Yeah. I got a couple of interesting Schaefers. This one actually I got as it was parts. It was cap and barrel, and it's taken me a while to actually find the section, the correct nib, and the feed for it. But it's quite heavily damaged, but it's got a nice little engraving on there.
Yes, it does.
I didn't like that. That was
Schaefer.
Parker, Schaefer.
Schaefer.
Here's another Schaefer.
Is that a chevron or something?
Yeah, some kind of Chevron.
Who owned that pen?
TAW with this
TAW.
kind of hideous engraving on here. But, it is what it is. This is another Schaefer, kind of a neat pattern.
Is that the lever
Like a
down
grid. Yeah, that's the lever.
there? Way down there and small.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Does the pen stop there? Where's the nib? Okay. So that really just squeezes the very end of the sack, or does that bar?
Well, that bar goes up to
goes all
here.
the
So,
way.
yeah. So this probably has a sack in it.
Go ahead.
I haven't used that forever.
More silver. I like that.
So, yeah, Sterling. And this is a hand engraved
That is
pattern.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Is this a Parker?
This is a Schaefer.
That's another
It's
Schaefer.
another Schaefer, yeah. Yeah, we're done with Parkers. I
Oh, okay.
don't get paid enough to collect Parker overlays. And this one, I actually got both of these at the same time. I kind of had to have them as a set. But smooth Sterling silver.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Of course, it's got a heavy patina on it. Comes down to the bottom.
And then this looks like
And then this
mother of pearl.
is not really an overlay, but
Well, there's metal. Is it a black hard? Is it hard rubber?
it is hard rubber.
All right.
Yeah. So just another way for somebody to, and most companies made some kind of mother of pearl.
And who is it?
This is a diamond point.
Diamond.
Fairly scarce pen. But they would have your gold filled fittings on the barrel. That's common, which I didn't include in this discussion because it's not really an overlay per se. But
Not really.
but
Is
this
that
is
an eyedropper, Bill?
this is an eyedropper.
Okay.
Yeah. So very, very hard to find our early diamond point. And I used to collect diamond points at one point.
Is this also a diamond?
This is also a diamond point. They made some really cool. They made patterns that nobody else did. So this is kind of neat.
It looks kind of like a wall.
Yeah. We'll get to that in a minute. You'll see it's
Different.
It's different. Yeah. Then there's another one. It's just a unique kind of engine turned.
You don't hear much about Diamond Point. What?
Yeah.
When did they stop producing?
Well, they went
Early
through a
on.
transition. They were actually, and you can read all about it. There's like about a 4 or 5 part article series in the Pennant on Diamond Point. Diamond Point actually transitioned over, was sold. If I remember the story correctly, was sold and then became New Diamond Point. So the new owners differentiated from the previous owners. But then they weren't very long after that. But
another diamond point?
This is another diamond point, but in sterling. So
sterling, and I see
and you can see the oxidation on the hard rubber.
So this is the overlay.
Yeah.
And then the cap is completely overlay.
Yeah, so pretty hard to find sterling diamond point overlays. They're usually you find them in some variation of gold fill. This one of my favorites.
It is beautiful.
This is a wort. And this is what you call a snail pattern.
Snail. All handmade.
Yeah, it's all handmade. And then there's a little engraving on there, of course.
It says Brian.
It does say Brian, yeah. But then there's your ventless.
Oh, look at that.
Ventless nib, and then there's your vented feed. So Wort decided that they didn't really like the idea of, at the time, an overfeed because it obstructed the nib. So they put the vent, what nowadays is a vent hole, in the feeds, and you can have this nice, beautiful.
Does it say Wort on it?
Yeah, it does say Wort. Yeah,
it's cool.
Yeah, so that's an eyedropper.
Also an eyedropper.
This one also, I believe, is a Wort.
And see, this is the first one we've seen that I would have identified immediately as an overlay, because I thought it was metal on hard rubber with what you call filigree.
Yeah, so
some cutouts to make the pattern.
Right. And this is a fairly common pattern, and we'll see this recreated probably in other pens here. Believe it or not, I actually didn't bring all of my overlays, but this is
I believe it.
Of them. But that's a nice Wort. That's a really nice Wort. And the filigree, and when you look at the filigree and you compare this to what some people are doing these days, every piece is nicely filed on the inside, and you can actually, if you look closely, you can see. Sometimes you can see cut marks where they just they went over a little bit or they missed something, but these are all done by hand.
But about what year are we talking?
These are probably 19-teens.
Okay.
19-teens. Most of these are teens and 20s. This one I actually found on vacation in Florida.
This last time?
Not this last time, a couple trips ago, but this is a Wort as well.
You're a fan of Wort.
I'm a big fan of Wort. Yeah. They make some really great pens. But when I saw this, it was at the opposite end of the antique mall. Mm-hmm. And you never saw a guy run so fast to the front counter to happily pay whatever this was, $50, $40 maybe, for a nice lever fill Wort overlay.
Ah, nice find. This one is beautiful.
This one is an Edison.
Okay. Not the current.
Not
Edison
the current one. Yeah, this is St. Petersburg, Virginia Edison, which made some really, really very nice pens. And they're very hard to find.
Almost. Well, it did remind me of a Yardeled. Of course, it's the wrong metal, but.
Yeah. So unfortunately, this one, somebody.
What'd you do that for, Brian?
Yeah, it's too bad. Well, of course, the price was right, as they say, but it's got Edison on the lever. And these pens are so hard to find. You probably won't find more than one, if you at all, at any given pen show.
No engraving.
Yeah, there's nothing on that.
That is beautiful.
But you take them when you can. This is a really, really pretty nice piece. You know what this one is?
That's an overlay fountain.
Which end is the cap?
Oh, because you asked, I'm going to say that one.
Yeah, it is.
But only because you asked.
So this is a more safety. And this pushes up. So
it's a push up and a twist? Is that what you did?
Yeah, you can just push it. You can turn it, but it just goes straight up.
It locks in place?
Well, it should. This one needs a new seal, but yeah, and then if you wanted to, you could put this.
Don't do that.
On the end. But lovely. Again, we got a nice snail pattern overlay. So similar to the Wort. Did
each manufacturer do their own work, or was it a central location?
Some companies farmed out to other companies. So, for example, Heath did a lot of stuff for Parker and presumably some other companies.
Gotcha.
So you would send it off to a jeweler's would make them for them. But
this is cute.
This is cute. I think you might like this one. This is my only John Holland overlay.
This is a John Holland.
This is a John Holland. Ooh. Yeah.
How can you tell it's an overlay?
Well, you've got a little bit of your hard rubber section under there.
You have a John Holland.
But it's pretty beat up. This cap has obviously seen better days.
I bet it's functional.
But it's cute. It's, as far as things are concerned, to have a John Holland in your collection is all right. This one's a little different. This doesn't actually qualify under the category of overlay.
It almost looks modern.
It's not. This is a Beyer and Hayes. It has a very interesting capping method.
Well, slip.
Well, so it has this little dimple here.
Oh, look at that.
And then if you look inside the cap, there's a singular thread. So when you put this in there.
Well, that is unusual, isn't it?
Yeah. But the barrel and cap are made of metal, so it's not really an overlay. But it kind of fits with the overall aesthetic
if you say so.
Of the era.
If you say so.
Yeah.
So there is no hard rubber underneath.
There's no hard rubber underneath it, yeah.
So this is a metal pen.
There's a metal pen, yeah. But I liked it because it's
Who
cool.
made it?
A Beyer and Hayes.
Beyer and Hayes.
Beyer and Hayes.
Never heard of them.
This one's a recent acquisition within the last couple of years. This is made by the Sterling Company.
Okay. Where
were they out of? New York.
It is beautiful.
Don't remember the exact details, but they were famous for making what's called a middle joint eyedropper, and this is unusual in that it's modeled hard rubber with the sterling filigree over the top. But a middle joint eyedropper comes apart in the middle.
Interesting.
And then you fill from there.
Not expecting that.
So problem that solves is...
That solves a problem?
It does solve a problem of a joint here that may leak
on your fingers.
On your fingers.
No, it just leaks.
Now it just moves. It moves up here. Well, it would have to. It fills on the inside of this part of the barrel. It would have to completely empty.
It probably doesn't.
It doesn't. Yeah.
That is a beautiful pen.
So it's got a little damage. It's missing a piece of the filigree here. And actually, I think somebody tried to re-glue this in the wrong place, but they're just so uncommon. Very, very hard to find something like that.
Who made it?
Sterling.
Sterling.
It's made by Sterling. And it is a Sterling overlay.
This one has an unusual something.
Yeah, this one's a fun pen because it comes with a fun story. This is a Weidlich and Simpson. And I bought this one year at the Detroit Pen Show. I think it was the Detroit Pen Show. And a gentleman came in and he had 35 millimeter photographs of pens that were out in his truck.
Well,
and it was pouring rain and he's showing me these photographs and I saw this pen and I said, I've got to go, we got to go talk. And so we literally out in the back of his truck in the middle of the pouring rain at a pen show, digging pens and stuff out of his, buying stuff out of the back of his truck. But this Weidlich is a matchstick filler.
Okay.
And luckily
it comes with the matchstick.
It comes with the matchstick, which goes in here and to push down on the J-bar to compress the sack.
And are these known for losing their matchsticks?
Well, that's hard rubber, and that can break off easily.
So, yes.
And this is Saul's Brothers, the makers of the Peter Pan.
Yeah,
But they also made some. They made some fairly inexpensive, and you can see this is thin gold fill, and it's wearing off. It's not as nice as some of these other examples.
But it didn't cost as much either.
So you could have what looked like a more expensive pen in your pocket, and it's still a fairly decent pen with the 14 karat gold nib. So
okay, beautiful. You have another tray.
This is another tray. And this is some fun stuff.
I see more silver here.
So these are Watermans. Some of them are Watermans.
That's an odd-looking fountain pen.
It is an odd-looking fountain pen, but it has a story, so I like stories. This is one of my favorites. This is a 4 512 Waterman. But this has the fine silver, which is 0.999, not 0.925, acid etched overlay. And so here, and it's got this big flower on it.
Did you say a 421?
This is a 412.
412. So what is the numbers?
Sterling silver. 4 is sterling silver. 1 is eyedropper.
And 2 is the nib
2
size?
is the nib size, yeah.
About from what year?
These are early 1900s, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. This one is also missing a little piece here, but the way these are, the way these were made, were the silver was electrodeposited on the hard rubber, and so it's not as simple as just trying to put something on there.
Is this also a Waterman?
These are all Waterman.
All
this whole tray
is also going to be a 412.
So this is also a 412.
Okay.
A little bit different pattern, a little bit earlier pattern. Just kind of an interesting. Nib is actually almost secondary to the rest of the.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah. So, but it's got neat, just a really neat design. I don't remember what they call that design. Here is your standard trefoil.
Oh yes.
This is the trefoil pattern.
Standard trefoil.
But missing a nib apparently.
Oh, no.
But that's a little vest pocket. Here's your standard 412 trefoil.
Okay. Very interesting.
I rescued this one from an antique mall in Marshfield, where I'm going for Memorial Day.
I suppose you'll be looking in if they're open on Memorial Day.
I don't think they exist anymore.
Oh.
Here's the same
business, did you?
Yeah, I put them out of business. Here's the same design, but with the clip.
This one has a clip.
Yeah. And same design, but in gold.
So it's not a
gold fill
anymore.
with the clip. Yeah. So this becomes, because it's gold fill, it's 05, which is gold fill. And
0512?
0512. Yeah. So slip cap, eyedropper.
And this one comparatively looks modern.
Well, it's just different, right? So it's a half overlay, and it actually has what does it have here? A presentation on it for Reverend Hap. It even gives the address, Brooklyn, and I believe that was the address of the church that he was reverend for.
So 0512.
So this is a 0314. 0314.
0314. So the nib is bigger.
Yeah, this is a number 4 nib.
Number 4 nib.
Number 4 nib.
Slightly larger than a 2 nib.
Yeah, but it fits in the same size holder.
Okay.
So, but
all the way from Brooklyn.
It doesn't make sense. 03. I'll have to look into that. But next one, this one is a fun pen. It's actually got a really cool engraving on here, LRL, and then 1917.
Oh, I wish it said LOL.
LOL, yeah, right? Wouldn't that be something? So this is gold fill 05. Because it's a lever filler, it's a 5 with the number 2 nib on it. And I actually use this one occasionally, so apparently I need to clean it. But this is a pen. This is kind of a pink gold. This is a pen that Lisa and I saw at our very first pen show that we did together in Atlanta. And Rick Horn had this pen, and I really kind of wanted to get it, but as it turned out, first pen show was not the best pen show, and we went home, and then Lisa, unbeknownst to me, got in touch with Rick, says, listen, I got to have that pen. He sold it to her, and then this is right when she was moving up from Florida, and we were working on the house, and she sent it to me, and didn't tell me. She says, "Oh, I'm sending you a package. It's just some makeup or some things, and just put it. You know, I'll pick it up when I get there the next time I see you." And she did, and then she hid it in my sock drawer for a couple of months until my birthday, and then
happy birthday!
There it was, yeah. So, hand engraved, sterling. It's all done by hand, including
look at that
the lever. Usually you find it on the clip too. So this one, I mean, you paid extra. But this is a 4, so this would be 450, 452 on that.
452.
And then this here is the Gothic pattern. So kind of that checkerboard with a space in between it. Looks like I need to clean that too.
I am partial to the silver ones.
Yeah, this one of my favorites. This is the Sheraton pattern. So the lined. This is a half size, so this is a 452.5.
What did the half mean?
Half means slender.
Slender.
But when they do on an overlay, it's actually a very nice girth. So I'm not turned off by 452.5s or 552.5s. And it's got a cool engraving on there, 1915 to 1940, interestingly enough.
Wonder what it means.
Yeah, I don't know. This one here is the only solid gold pen I have in my collection.
Right here, the only one.
This is an English Waterman. It's got the English hallmark here. It's what they call a line and dot overlay.
I can see why.
And I saw this one at the DC Pen Show the first time I went. And by the time I went around, I had bought this pen there, and I had bought a couple of these other Watermans because I was really collecting those at the time. And I saw this one, and I had run out of money, so I took the guy's business card, and a week later, after I got paid again, I emailed him up and said, "Hey, listen, I got to have that Waterman if you still have it." So, so I bought it after the show, but it's got a nice heft to it, also kind of a half size.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Clipless. It's really nice and correct with a non-gold lever. So
that is correct.
That is correct. Yeah.
And you never use it.
This one I have used. Yeah, I have used that one.
Rarely.
Yeah, not as often as I probably should. Here's one of my favorites, the Pansy panel. There's a couple of different versions of this pattern. And this one is really pretty. It's a pretty hard pattern to find. This one's got a little bit of damage.
Does it have a name?
This pattern is the Oriental, they call it. So got a little bit of plating loss, but it's really, really hard pattern to find. You kind of just take it whatever condition you take it in.
I like this pen.
This is a 1940s Sheraton again.
Okay.
But it's got the later clip. This one was kind of a fun one because when Lisa and I first started dating, I flew down to Tampa and we were looking at going antiquing, and we saw this in a case with, of course, the price tag on it. It was the right price, and we went to the front counter and said, "Hey, can you open up case ABC?" And they went and got the key. They were looking for the key. They couldn't find the key for it.
Oh,
and so I left town. I came back to Wisconsin, and like the next week, Lisa kept calling. "Hey, did you find the keys yet? Did you find the keys?" Finally, we went down and they found the keys, and so I did end up getting it, but it's kind of interesting. But
it is a pencil.
It is a pencil. I don't collect pencils.
Of course not.
This one, also Sterling 452 basket weave pattern.
Oh, makes sense.
I also do use this one apparently. All probably the same ink, but yeah. So these have all been polished at some point, and then they tarnish back up. So I do have a fondness for smooth gold fill overlays. So here's another one, but it's more yellow gold.
Yes, it is, and very undamaged.
Yeah, and it's really hard to find them. Yeah. The smooth ones that don't have a damage. It's easier to hide a damage on something else, but on a smooth overlay, it's really hard. Because it's the first thing you see.
It's been around for so long,
yeah.
too.
So this one's got the clip. This one, particularly the nice one, of the first ones I ever got, a nice Gothic in gold fill. So this is 0552.5, or 0552 lever fill. I bought this one in Columbus.
It looks big.
Yeah, it's chunky.
Yeah.
But it's not number 6 size. Yeah, when you put the overlay on it, it adds a little weight. It adds a little bit girth. Here's another pansy panel. A little bit different pattern than this one.
It just covered the whole pen.
And this is what they call an LEC. So this is an 05 for gold fill, 5 for lever, 2 for the number 2 size nib, LEC for lower end covered.
Interesting.
So then they They actually ribbed it nicely so that it slides on.
Beautiful.
It's a nice pen. What is
Back to
this?
silver.
This is so this is another pansy panel. This is an interesting pen. This is a 414 PSF.
Okay.
So it's a pocket self filler, which is the early version before they switched over to the 5. It's got the lever fill, but it has the raised threads, which make it a PSF.
Pocket self-filler.
Self-filler.
Put it in your pocket and it fills itself?
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. So I just love that pansy panel design, and that's just a really unusual.
An entire tray of Waterman.
Yeah. Oh, and there's one more.
One more tray?
Well, no. There's literally one more.
One more pen.
One more.
Oh, look at these beauties. Well, you have 2 of the same ones here.
And they're not exactly the same. So
two.
this is kind of an example. This is the last Waterman I have.
It looks like a safety filler.
It is a safety. This is kind of one of those examples where if you find if there's a rare pattern, sometimes you just
you just
we're missing a whole lot of the barrel here and the threads to thread the cap on. But this pattern is only found on these small pens.
What is it?
And this is I believe this is the wreath pattern.
Wreath.
And it was designed, of course, to put somebody's initials, and it's just quite.
It's
kind of hard to see, but it's fantastic.
It is fantastic.
And because I don't actively collect, and I know they're out there, but I don't actively collect overlays as much anymore. I just stumble across them.
We can tell.
I mean, it wouldn't be hard for me to replace that, but it would be hard to replace it. So I just have it as an example for now, and if a better one comes along, then great.
If a better one finds you.
If a better one finds me, yeah. So I did collect these for a while. These are Aiken Lamberts.
Yeah.
I do love these. This is a high filigree, high relief filigree work.
Very high.
Very nice. Very nice. Also
Scratch
bought
my
this.
eyes out with that.
One of my first auctions. But they have the nice thing about Aiken is they have this beautiful nib where the vent hole is separate from the slit. And that's correct. And sometimes people, if they press too hard, they'll actually crack the slit all the way to the vent hole, which is not how it's supposed to be.
It's a shame. The high relief is, you can really see the difference.
Yeah. It's really, it's something else. Now, some of these next ones, I'm just going to attribute to Aiken Lambert. They may or may not be because most of them are usually unmarked. And nibs, of course, are easily swappable. But this is an outstanding snail pattern.
It is beautiful.
They're just alternating. They're not in the same place.
I wonder who did that.
Oh, it's got a nice big Aiken. So these, of course, are all eyedroppers.
Oh, of course.
These are pre Waterman. This one is probably an Aiken for sure.
Pre Waterman. So what? Year?
Well, so Waterman bought Aiken,
right?
And that
so
was
these are all from
these are early 1900s.
Right.
Yeah. But here's another snail pattern. You can see it's kind of dances around.
It's amazing the difference in the depth of the engraving.
Yeah. These snail ones they're just off the charts beautiful. This one's a little rough, but I love it. This actually I got this for our wedding as a wedding gift from Lisa. So, but beautiful. Look at this large. Somebody unfortunately tried to smooth out an engraving on there, but a nice straight cap snail pattern overlay.
Gorgeous. Is this also an Aiken Lambert?
This is also an Aiken, yeah. So this is sterling, of course, but what beautiful work. And this is why you got to check every box at a pen show, because this pen with the wrong nib in it, but it still had a 14 karat gold nib in it, was $50.
Wow.
I couldn't resist, but it's perfect. It's really just beautiful.
It's beautiful.
The way those come up.
But it doesn't have the right nib.
It does now. I have the nib. I had the nib for it. So here's a couple of hand engraved Aiken Lamberts. This one full cap and barrel.
Next one just the barrel.
This one just the barrel.
It's hard to tell which I like more.
Yeah.
I guess you need one of each.
Yeah, that's why I have one of each. This one here, a real high relief kind of basket weave but
Yeah.
it's really more of a floral pattern.
Beautiful.
And this one's also an Aiken. This has got more of that kind of Heath look to it, where Heath has got these, kind of more wide open.
Is there a name on that?
This one is an Aiken.
No, in the engraving.
Oh, and the engraving. This is for Roy. This was
Roy.
Roy's pen. Okay. Yeah. I love some of these. Billy, Roy. This one is quite. This one was BWJ from 1916, apparently, if I've got that right. But this is a very hard to find Aiken Lambert sleeve filler with a slip cap, and so this rotates to get to the press bar, and the sack apparently is bad, but
Don't push that bar.
don't push that bar. But a slip cap and smooth, and so this is what you get with smooth. You get dings here, dings there.
Yeah. Well, it's had quite a life.
Yeah. These guys, very hard to find an Aiken Lambert safety. But when I started looking, I ended up finding like 5 in the course of a year. So that worked out okay. But
I like safety pens.
yeah. And this one, this is smooth. And then this one has got the lines and the kind of like little checker pattern on it.
I wonder if people really used ring tops.
I think they did. I mean, you could buy them separately, to add on. This one's kind of a fun pen. We bought this from Presnell Wood. This is it's got an Aiken nib in it, but I believe this is a Sanford and Bennett, I think. This is a sleeve filler.
Oh, is it? Oh.
And the bottom end pulls out. This one should be good. Yeah, I got a good sack in there.
Fascinating.
But a really, really cool pen. Presnell Wood, if you know, he's a member of the Dallas Pen Club, and he does everything old school. We had to send him a piece of mail, I think, to get him to get that pen for me. This is an interesting pen. This is a pen that actually has. This is probably made by Waterman, but it has a custom nib for a jewelry store in Canada.
Oh.
But look at this. This is high relief.
Yep.
It's pretty outstanding. Here's another one. I don't know the exact maker of this one, and I know there's no nib in it, but how can you? It's irresistible.
Yeah.
Irresistible.
It's amazing.
Another no-name filigree, very similar to that Heath pattern.
You just had to have it.
It was the right price. Here's another one. I got this in, where did I get this? Columbus last year. But I mean, look at this. Just fantastic pattern on the barrel.
It is beautiful.
It's outrageous. It's got a carry nib. It's probably not a carry, but what a cool, it just catches your eye.
I can see how you have managed to not collect these.
I don't collect these. Yeah, I'm not an expert. What do we got here? This is a U.S. fountain pen company, Victory. Victory on the clip, 14 karat gold nib, but they're really neat lined pattern. They made a lot of telescopic pens, but this is one of their standard ones. What do we have here? This is unmarked. I think this is the pen that you can see the overfeed is kind of sliding down here.
Okay.
This was offered in the Chicago Pen Show auction quite a number of years ago. And at the entire preview, the whole feed under an overfeed had slipped back into the barrel. Oh. So everybody looked at it, said it's got no feed. It's unmarked. There's no way we're going to find something to fit. And the price was right. And when I opened it up,
there they were.
The feed came out. Yeah. English, possibly Conway Stewart.
Really?
English hallmarks, hand engraved sterling. Pretty hard to find a Conway. Conway didn't really make overlays. Not many anyway. But what a lovely pattern.
Beautiful.
That one actually I bought with a companion piece. This one. I couldn't decide which one I liked more.
To get them both.
So I bought them both.
That's the solution.
Yeah, it's the solution. You probably like this one. This is kind of a rough example, but this is kind of a, a second, third tier, what we sometimes refer to as continental overlays.
Okay.
Safety filler. It's Italian.
Who made it?
This one, it could have been anybody. This is Oceanica.
Okay.
But typically you see Waterman with fantastic overlays. But as they say on this one, the price was right. So
That's a nice pen.
What do we get into here? This one's cool because it has a red hard rubber feed.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And is this a grease jobber? No, this is I don't know if that's the right name for it, but just an interesting straight cap, the short cap.
Fascinating.
Here, probably another unmarked. And then some companies did, trying to compete. It looked like the fine silver overlays. That's just such an interesting.
So this is not a Waterman.
This is not a Waterman, yeah.
Okay.
And then the other one we had with the flower on it. Here's another one, but this is an unmarked pen. So you could find these, but still sterling overlay. But look how huge that is.
Yeah.
Got a big nib.
This one is cool.
This one is, this is cool. So this is another snail pattern.
Deep relief.
It is a grease jobber with an overfeed, which is fantastic when you start putting those pieces together. But it's got a little warp to it, but that's all right. Here's another grease jobber, but a filigree this time.
It's dainty.
It is dainty, yeah.
Ish.
Nice little eyedropper.
This one makes me dizzy.
This one, very characteristic pattern. If you know your pens, you'll recognize this is a pattern unique to Edward Todd. And this one's probably a metal barrel. So it's not technically an overlay, but It's an Edward Todd, and the only one I got.
This one looks fascinating.
This one's cool. This one actually says Jane's on the barrel somewhere here, the overlay. It's French. You can kind of see that characteristic French modeling in the marble hard rubber. Nice. It's got a Waterman nib in it.
Nice feed.
But yeah, model hard rubber feed section.
I like that.
Uncommon, most of all these overlays are black, and then we've only had, this is the second one that's been modeled. So, and then last but not least, these technically don't qualify because these are metal pens, but here are the walls. Yeah, I don't actually really collect these, but they made some really interesting patterns. Apparently this one I need to clean. Oops. They made some interesting patterns. I don't know the names of any of them, but I like them. So when they come around and I don't have it, if I feel so inclined.
A wall was one of the first pens I bought. In fact, I bought one at my first pen show because it had such a lovely flexi nib on it.
Yeah, and they can be real nice. Here's one in sterling. These are all gold fill.
Yeah, mine was sterling.
That pattern makes you dizzy when you look at it.
Yeah, just spin it.
But this is a nice. I think Lisa bought this pen for me. This is a nice sized pen. Especially if you post it, it's a big.
It is.
It's got a nice weight to it.
This one is.
That's neat. Yeah, it's got a little bit. It's super thin plating on it, so you can see the plating loss in some spots. But it's really cool.
The hard rubber makes it special.
And the accommodation clip is really kind of neat with the rivets and
the feed. I like the feed.
The whole French stuff going on. So I have those, and then I have just a couple more I'm going to bring out just because, as it so happens, I've got a couple of these Watermans that I'm in the process of restoring. So these are all 52 and a half, so 452 and a half fee, 0552 and a half fees.
Okay. Restoring for to sell.
Yeah. These will be available shortly, but just keep your eye out for them.
I'll be keeping my eye out.
A couple of these I don't have nibs in because I'm cleaning the nibs, but all lever fillers all have Waterman nibs. I don't know, varying flexibility on the nibs, but filigrees, lower end cover.
Is this a set?
Yeah, this one will sell as a set, but it's a cute.
It's a nice pattern, whatever it's called.
Cute pencil. that works.
Functions.
Yeah.
Functions.
Yeah. This is the hand engraved sterling silver. Get your basket weave. And
these are overlays.
These are overlays. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So a couple of Gothic here. And unfortunately, this one had a matching pen, but when I looked at it yesterday, there's a crack in the section. So
it's just
no good.
Out.
So we just got a pencil, but it is the hand engraved pattern, which is kind of lovely. So, but these will be available. They're quite nice.
Beautiful. I'm going to keep my eye out for this one.
It could be yours.
Could be mine.
Because I'm not keeping. I was going to keep them because it's kind of a nice little set.
You still have room, I'm sure.
But
you have all these, a lot of empty
but I couldn't fit them all in here, so this is all I have left.
I could take 1 or 2 of those off your hand. I just keep them for a while, then I'll give them back.
So that's I collect.
And am I right in assuming these are not all of your overlays? It's just what you grabbed on your way out the door because we're doing
There's probably not more than 10 more at all. I mean, I have some in boxes.
Right, not easy to grab.
Yeah, these are easy to grab. But
after the show, I'm going to go through and pick out my favorite.
Okay, you can do that.
They're all fascinating. I like metal pens. I don't know why, but I do like metal pens.
Yeah, and you have to think during the time, all of your pen options during this time were one of 2 options: black or mottled, or sometimes red. But 90% of the time it was black. Or you could have a pen that looked different from everybody else's, and you could have an overlay on it, and it looked fancy and it looked nice.
I bet they were very expensive.
They probably, some of these were. Now the gold fill version, not as much. That's kind of at the low end of the price point. Then sterling, then solid. But and to think they did make and they sold a fair number of. I'm talking Waterman and Parker, of course, primarily a fair number of solid gold pens. They sold a number of them, so they're out there. People paid at the time $20, $30, $40, $50, $100.
Wow,
for a set. 120 years ago. So
people have always liked pens.
People have always liked pens. Yeah. Pens. Parker had some with diamonds and emeralds on them.
Really?
Yep. The pen of pens.
Go to the Parker Museum.
I don't even think they have one.
You're going to open it.
Not hard.
Thank you very much for that.
So,
always fascinating to see your pens.
I think we're done though. I think I've showed them all.
Oh, I don't think so. Do you have another joke for me?
I do.
I brought another one.
Yeah.
Too.
Why should you never mention the number 288 in polite company?
Why?
It's too gross.
Very good. That was a good one. I'm going to repeat that. Mine pales in comparison, let me tell you. What do you call a Star Wars droid that takes the long way around? You could figure this one out.
R2U2.
You're halfway there.
R2U. U-turn? I don't know.
R2 detour.
R2 detour. Detour. I was thinking U-turn. Yeah, okay.
We should do this again. In fact, we should probably do it on Sunday, June 30th.
Okay.
About 1 month. We'll be really into summer by then.
We'll have to come up with some idea.
We'll think of something.
We could do it on the bike.
It'll be summer. We'll get a scooter for Justin. We'll follow him. He'll have a camera.
There we go.
We'll figure something out. That's all I have. Do you have anything else? Thank you very much.
I don't have anything else. No.
Thank you. Okay. See you next month.
Bye.